my machete, gonna chop her to the wire.
Hey, bum the way to way.
Wrapped in spaghetti, about to catch me on fire.
Hey, bum the way.
So bum the way.
Bum the way to way.
Bum the way to way.
Bum the way.
Are you ready for the sabbatical? Away from the drama and the hysteria. Juxtaposition, correct your vision. Simsalabim, and you seem to be forgiven, so come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way to way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way to way. I don't like living in a simulation.
Hey, bum the way to way.
Unplug my way back to civilization.
Hey, bum the way.
So bum the way.
Bum the way to way.
Bum the way.
Bum the way.
Me take the ink card and I can't see the stars. Me can't feel the human from beyond the avatar. Jump the prison, fuck the algorithm. If your battery is dying, then you get busy living. So come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Are you ready for the sabbatical? Away from the drama and the hysteria. Juxtaposition, correct your vision. Simsalabim, and you seem to be forgiven, so come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way. Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality. Bum the way.
Welcome to the Live Loving live stream with John Davis. Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to the Live Loving live stream. It is I, John Davis, here in the fabulous John of News Studios. I hope you guys are all doing really well today and this evening. It is a beautiful day outside. It was up in the upper 80s today, but right now the sun is low in the sky and the breeze is nice outside. It's just a lovely day. If my whole equipment could go out on the back deck, I would do it from the back deck, but I really can't with all of this stuff. So I hope you guys are doing great. Thank you for the kind words that you guys were giving my brother's music at the beginning of during the waiting time here, the Bummed Away to Way. He is a amazing musician, and I'll tell you, he when he was 14 years old, he taught himself to play guitar, and and he didn't know how to play music yet. And my mom got him with a guitar teacher, and they said they had to wait till the end of summer to start taking classes. By the time he got to the classes, he was already playing better than the guy who was teaching it. And he didn't know how to read music, so he actually started writing his own method of music. Then he taught himself to play bass, and so he could teach somebody else how to play bass. And he taught himself to play drums so he could teach somebody else to play drums. And at 15 years old, he put together a band called Astro Jellyfish. And he went and he competed in a Battle of the Bands contest against 40 other bands, most of them adults. And these three little 15-year-old boys with all original music that my brother wrote won the entire contest and ended up getting amazing studio time and a guitar and all kinds of gifts. And he is an incredible musician. He's an incredible artist. He is a true Renaissance man, and I just absolutely love him like a brother. Imagine that. I am super proud of my brother. You're right. Lucy, it's a pleasure to see you there. I want to see who else is here so I can say hi to everybody. I don't think there's that many on tonight, about 14 on right now. I know Ashley's not going to be around, and Marcy has not been around. They both have lives. Imagine that. Let's see. Anybody else here? So the way these things work, Carol B., welcome. How are you? The way these things work for these live streams is I am a completely open book. Hello, Larry. I'm a completely open book, and I will answer any questions or talk about any topics you want to talk about. If I don't have an opinion or an idea, I'll tell you that too. I am whatever topic you would like to talk about. That's what we do on the live streams, and I thoroughly enjoy these moments, and I also enjoy when I see you guys over in the chat giving each other positive love and reinforcement. So if you have any questions, please put them in all caps. There was somebody from last time, Sunshine Girl. I'm going to take her comment off. But please put all the topics and questions for me in all caps, especially now because Bright Love and Marcy are not going to be here. So it is going to be solely me working the chat over there. So please put your questions or topics in all caps so I can see them easily. James Prentice, my friend, is back. How are you, James? I just was telling James, I love this question because I was just telling somebody today and explaining how it kind of works. You know, Jeshua was completely fearless, which meant that he was absolutely presenting as pure love. As I walked towards the crowd in my regression, before I even got to him, I could feel his presence. I could feel his love, and I started to lose my breath. Think about that. I started to exhale because the fear was being repelled from my body, because perfect love drives out fear. That's what the book of John says. Good book, by the way. Samuel, hello, welcome. So you literally, it was palpable. You could feel the feeling, and it made everything else irrelevant because it was like, this is all you could feel. You were encompassed by this purity of love. And I was explaining to somebody today that the more present and fearless you are, the more you present that way. You know, have you ever met somebody, like at a party or something, who just walked in, who had an amazing charisma? He just lit the room up, or she just lit the room up as they walked in. They had this charisma that just took over. And the reason why they have that charisma is because they had less fear and they were more present. They were in the moment, being fully present fearlessly. And Jeshua was the for me, a prime example of that, charisma to the nth degree. You could literally feel his presence. And so on a smaller scale, someone with great charisma who comes into a room is kind of representing something that's more present and more fearless. And in his case, it was just all encompassing when you were around him. It was absolutely incredible. Hope that answers your question there, James. And thank you for that, because, Jeshua was, nowadays everyone, a lot of people think of him as a deity or they've kind of made him an idol. And I don't mean an idol like a rock star idol. I mean like an idol like a statue. Like, he's become the cadaver on the cross. And he was a man, not a deity. And he found his way, his truth in his life, and he was showing us his way and his truth in his life so we could find it as well within ourselves. And so that was a very beautiful understanding that I did come away with from all my regressions. So, I love that, Sam. That you can literally feel they're present in their cooking, and they're just fearlessly putting in their ingredients, and you can taste it in the food they cook too. I've never noticed that, but I'm sure you're right, because if the person's being present, that means they're putting fearless intent, a loving intent of cooking. So that should show up in the food. Absolutely, I love that. So that idea of being present and fearless is a prerequisite of Jeshua's teachings. To be present. I am here now. I am the present moment declaration. Think not upon tomorrow, be here today. Fear is something that's not rooted in the present. It's rooted in the past or the future, but in the present, it's just emotional reaction. And you can't change anything in the past, and the future will be what you believe about the now. So you can't change anything up there unless you're changing this present moment, because that's what's going to come into your experience. So the only thing you can do in this moment to be completely fearless is to allow yourself to exhale, release the fight or flight response, and come back to this loving, natural state that is you in general. So anyway, so if you have any more questions, where you guys are not giving me a lot of questions or topics tonight, just slap them up in all caps, and I'll be good. Hello, Trudy. Welcome. Manitoba, Canada. I actually loved my time in Canada. I was in Ontario a lot, and I was over in Vancouver and Banff out west, and I loved my time in Canada. It was wonderful. In fact, if you guys want to hear a funny Canadian story, I was up there during the Renaissance Festival that used to be in Milton. Hey, Sam, you're in Quebec. That's cool. I was up doing a Renaissance Festival in a town called Milton near Toronto, and it's now gone. But when we went to do that show, I decided I wanted to get my paycheck, so I got a ride with a musician from the fair, and he drove me out to the fair, and because I had flown in, and drive all the way out there, and on the way to the festival site, suddenly there's an RCMP car behind us. And then there's another one. And then there's another one. And eventually there were 5 of them. And we were driving in a little minivan, and the guy was stopping at railroad tracks. And I was like, why are you stopping at railroad track? He says, I don't know if it's legal or not to just cross a railroad track in Canada, because he was from Texas. Well, suddenly all these police cars do this maneuver where 2 of them suddenly pass us and stop. The other 2 stop back, and the third kind of angles to the side. And the RCMP guys in the front cars get out, and they say, driver, get out of the car. And the guy who was driving me, who I barely knew, I just met the guy that day, gets out of the car, and he's got the Renaissance Festival long hair and the big long beard, and he's a musician. And he gets out of the car, and he was a small guy. And the RCMP guy goes, come here. And he walks over to the car. Then from the back, I hear, "Passenger, get out of the car." And I stood up out of the car, and I was the biggest person there. I was taller than all of them. Suddenly, over the speaker, he says, put your hands on the roof. I'm like, okay, put my hands on the roof. And they come up, and they search me. And they start searching the car. And we're like, so I'm talking to the RCMP guy. He says, "I'm so sorry I'm doing this." He's apologizing to me the whole time, because that's what Canadians do. They're very polite. So he's patting me down. He's doing all this stuff. I didn't do drugs. I don't have those drugs. So I wasn't really worried about me having anything. But then I realized I was in a car with a guy I didn't know, and I don't know what's in his car. Well, luckily he didn't have anything either. But at the end of the conversation, I turned to the RCMP officer and I said, "Why'd you stop us?" He says, "Well, you were driving with Texas plates in Canada. We were behind you, and you kept stopping at railroad tracks, which is confusing." He says, "And then both of you were wearing denim." I started to laugh. I said, "Is that the uniform for criminals in Canada? You have to wear denim?" And he started laughing. We started laughing, but he let us go. We had no problems, right? But it was the whole concept of being pulled over for denim. Still to this day makes me laugh. Let me jump over and say hello to the people who've come in. Audrey, hello, welcome. Oh, I am not the musician. I did play saxophone when I was in school, but I was the lead singer of an a cappella group when I was in my 20s called the Acapellers, and it was very fun, a fun time. St. John, oh, nice. Galveston Island, Lucy, welcome. You know, my third wedding was in Galveston during Dickens on the Strand in full Victorian garb. It was a beautiful, beautiful wedding. Okay. Did Jesus ever guide you to do the Course in Miracles? I have a video on my channel about my take on the Course in Miracles. I think it's been made far too complicated. I think it's all far simpler. I think the person who channeled it had a connection to Jesus in their belief system, and they brought information through that way, but it was processed through the concept of needing a year-long process. So to me, the Course in Miracles, as I say, to me it's far too complicated, and I don't believe it's from the man that I knew, because for him it was all about simplicity. In fact, in my first regression, I was told that it was all so simple we have a hard time comprehending it. So no, I don't believe that it was channeled directly from Jeshua, but I think there's a lot of very good things in it, and so that's my take on it. If it's not your take, I completely respect that. We're all on our own personal journey, but for me, it doesn't ring like it came from him. So, let's see. Larry had the opportunity today to pour confidence and encouragement into a young woman who was cutting my hair. She shared that she was struggling with confidence because of early trauma. See, Larry, you're doing it, man. That is the way you take. That is the way you take love and you just spread it into the world. You take action. You gave her a chance to break free of struggle. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, and well done, my friend. Thank you for clearing this up for me. Denim with beard was associated with biker gangs and stopping each track because some guys overload their truck with fertilizer for clandestine crops. Well, that explains a lot. Thank you, Sam, for letting us know about that. I just love the fact that someone that I was pulled over for wearing denim. I realized the Canadians suddenly had a fashion police. Chitra, my friend, hello. Welcome. Everyone be careful now. Chitra's here. She's going to take it out. My favorite movie ever. I have a lot of favorite movies. When I was younger, my favorite movie of all time was The Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn. And no, I wasn't alive when it came out. Not at all, right? But very interesting how life kind of works with your passions. Many years later, I got to take a class from Patrick Crane, who was Errol Flynn's stunt double, and I got to work with the guys who actually worked with the guys from those films. But if I was going to list several favorite films, Good Will Hunting rises to the top. I am a big Robin Williams fan. Dead Poets Society, of course, is huge for me. Right now, before this, I was watching My Cousin Vinny, which I love and adore. I love a good comedy in every way, shape, or form. And I just watched a beautiful movie. My son came up to me last night and he says, "Dad, I have a movie I want to watch. Will you watch it with me?" I said, "Sure." So I sat down, had no idea what I was about to watch. It was called A Dog's Purpose, and it was all about a dog who reincarnates. And it was wonderful. Now, there's a sequel to it called A Dog's Journey, and he just came up right before this. He says, "After you're done, can we watch the next one?" I said, "Sure, absolutely. Love that." But that's my, when it comes to movies, that's the basic idea. When it comes to sword fighting movies, Rob Roy, Princess Bride, things of that nature. Oh, I'm so glad. You know, to me, simplicity. Because of that quote from my regression, I measure all of my spirituality against simplicity. Once it starts getting doctrines and dogmas and techniques and methods and modalities, I'm headed for the door. You know, as who was that singer? Bob Seger said, "I'm headed to the door." Right. So to me, it's love and fear. And fear is the illusion of love's absence, so it's a matter of us overcoming our fears. Hello, she's loving music. Oh boy, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful name. How are you? I love your avatar too. Dog's Purpose always makes you cry. It was the first time I'd seen it last night. It was absolutely really wonderful. I loved it. What Dreams May Come is a great movie. There's all kinds of great ones out there. Oh, Harold and Maude. Harold and Maude was a great movie. Yeah. Oh, it was A Dog's Purpose was filmed in Winnipeg. That's awesome. Awesome. So, what spiritual topics do you guys want to get on tonight? I know we were already about 17 minutes into this thing, and we're talking movies and dogs and stuff. So, what would you like to talk about this evening? Just like I said, just put things into all caps, and we'll dive into some of that. Is there anything that's happening in the world that you'd like a different perspective on, or another perspective on? Or more than likely, if it's something happening in the world of news, you're probably going to have to tell me what it is, because I don't watch news. So. Oh, Chitra, thank you. 43 pounds down since December, and heading further. The Taliban have started stoning women to death again. Jesus stopped the Pharisees from doing the same. Was it from some authority or just personality? If you're asking if Jesus had the God-given authority to tell them to stop, Jesus was a man, not a deity. Jesus was just being love and stepping up and showing love and compassion in all things. Stopping someone from stoning someone is to stop somebody from doing something based in fear, giving fear to the woman, and also, through the stoning itself is about power and having power, and they stone people to be powerful because they really are not. They're just trying to exert power through. So Jesus stopping someone from stoning someone would have been about the love and compassion in his heart, not as some sort of spiritual authority, because he believed in oneness and us all being equal. So, but doing the compassionate thing is always good. I just, not on that scale, of course, but I watched at a bank one time. I was in the line, and the teller started really treating this woman in the line next to me really harshly, kind of accusing her of being a fraud. And you could tell from who she was. She was just an elderly black woman who was trying to cash a check, and the more she was like, And she was like, okay, if you can't do it, I'll leave. And he just said, well, you're trying to rip me off. And I'm sitting there, and finally I walked over into her line. I said, excuse me, I'm offended. And he goes, what? I said, you need to treat her with more respect. If you can't cash her check, that's one thing. But to accuse her of something and is nothing about what she's doing, because I witnessed the whole thing. She wasn't doing anything, and this guy was just a young guy. And I really think in that situation, he was just looking at a black woman and treating her as a lesser being, and I couldn't stand for that. I had to step in between because that's the loving thing to do. And when I look at what's going on in the Taliban is a prime example of why religion needs to go away, because they're using religion as their justification for doing harmful things. And I think when Jeshua said, before Abraham was, I am, he was saying before there was a Judaic religion, because Abraham is the representation of that religion. He was saying going back before religion is what that statement's about. So that's my that's my thought on that one. I hope that answered your question there, Matthew. Yeah, listen to Adrian. Adrian, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, because that's important. Thank you for doing that, Adrian. And I agree with you. Everything you will do in life is spiritual. If a movie makes you feel good, that's because you love it, and God is love. So it's just a representation of love. This is a great historical question. I think they had to be. I don't know if in Rome knew per se, but I knew the Jewish authorities in the region were very aware of the building crowds. I mean, my first memory and regression was watching people run down the beach to him. He had become the spiritual rock star who was saying you don't need Rome and you don't need the religion. And so he became a threat to everybody because he was literally going right after their power and saying they have no power over you only unless you give it to them. I hope that answers that one. Oh, this is a great question, Kim. What do I know about dream visitations? When I'm having a dream visitation, when it's visceral, if I can feel the room, smell the room, and literally, feel the person and the experience in a very physical way. I've had my dog comes back and visits me that way sometimes. My dog, who died in 2005. And he's been long for life, but he still visits me in dreams. My friend Johnny Fox, who was a sword swallower, he came and visited me right after his death, and my cousin Carlos came and delivered. But yeah, that wasn't more dream. That was actually woke me up from sleep to see him in the room. But what do I know about dream visitations? I can only give you my own experiences. My own experiences are, if the dream is very visceral, that it just feels like it's real, that to me is a pretty direct sign that that's where it's coming from. And all roads lead to Rome. The funny thing is, when people ask me what my favorite, I've been to 30 countries, and they asked me what my favorite country was, my favorite place to visit was, and my favorite place to visit was Rome. I actually loved Rome. I sang in the streets with college kids. I ate fresh fruit at markets. It was just magical. Rome was just simply magical, and I loved it. I don't know if I would have liked it back in the day, though. I love this question. Yeah, as I often say, Jeshua was a man, not a deity. There's a moment in the Bible, of course, the overturning of the tables. Sure, hey, why are you dealing with these monies when we're supposed to be loving one another? Why are you doing business in a place where we're supposed to, be thinking of higher ideals? Why are you turning this place into a profit center rather than a spiritual place of discussion? That would have upset him. There's also the funny one where he sees the fig tree and it doesn't have any fruit on it, so he curses the fig tree. Jeshua was a man, and people like to think that he walked into a room and a choir started to sing and the light started to shine. But when you look at some of the lines, like, you have ears but you do not hear, you have eyes but you do not see, those were probably said with frustration. God, you have ears but you do not hear, listen to me. He was basically trying to say those things. Yeah, he I don't have a lot of memories of the anger things, because the majority of my memories of Jeshua and his wife were laughter, just literally laughing. That's why that painting right there was painted, because it was just them laughing and doing that clear idea of who and what they were. Hello, Maxine. How are you? I often wonder about the word rabbi in general, because yes, a rabbi in the Jewish faith is basically their priest, but I just wonder if it just meant teacher at the time, because in my regression I called him rabbi. In my first regression, I said I call him rabbi, and so to me I think it means teacher, but nowadays I think it means something different. I think the translation has altered over time, but he was a great teacher, and so that's how John of old saw him. And yes, he would have had some big nads. It takes to speak your truth in any world. It takes a bit of courage, and you're gonna have negative feedback. If you look at my two YouTube channels, I've got the Recovering Catholic channel and I've got the John of New channel. John of New channel is really focused on how we can be loving in the now. That's what that channel is about. The other channel is about helping people break free from the trauma of their religion, because the majority of the people I work with are recovering Catholics who are dealing with fear and guilt and self-doubt and self-worth and afraid of hell, afraid of the devil, all of those things, and they're traumatized by it. And so that channel is about kind of debunking it. So I put up videos about the statistics about which is the deadliest religion in the world. It's because it's Christianity. But I actually had to if you go over and you see that video, I had to shut off comments in that video because I was getting so much profanity and you're going to burn in hell, and you bastard, you son of a bitch. They kept calling me son of a bitch for some reason. I'm bringing my mom into the equation at that point. So finally, I just shut off the comments and put a little quote. I said, because of the overuse of profanity and hate speech from people who claim to follow Jesus, the comments are now turned off on this video. And that's been an interesting experience in itself. But sometimes you have to do the thing that goes against the things that are hurting people. Like, you have to go against the people who are throwing the stones. And on that channel, I go there to help the people break free of being hit by the stones. So do I got big nads? I don't know if it's big nads. I just think I have big compassion. But Jeshua definitely had some big nads because he went against the ruling authority. And Larry, I had no music that I remember from that. People ask me about the music of the time and the fashion of the time. I have my memories are not complete in any sense. And what memories I do have are really focused on Jeshua and his wife. I even don't have a lot of memories of other disciples. So, I'm coming across. Well, Sam, I love this, that it felt very familiar to you. I have a lot of people who tell me that they believe they may have known him in a past life. And to me, I tell them, well, if you believe it, then that's probably true. No one can tell you whether it's true or not, but I don't believe it matters who anyone was, including myself, in a past life. I think it only matters who you are in the now. And so, to me, I look at it from the perspective of we're probably all just tapping into the oneness of God, and we all knew Jeshua at some point, because he's in the oneness of God. When he says, "The Father and I are one, and you must become one with me as I am with the Father," he's literally saying that we're all one. And if we're all one, then we should be able to tap into the memories of those, or the familiarity with those other people. Oh, interesting. So Rabbi, Chitra says the word Rab in Urdu language or Punjabi, it means God. And what's interesting is that, he could be, and I thought it meant teacher, so it could mean the teacher of God, the teacher from God, or so it could mean priest, it could mean whatever. But I often wonder. Maria, welcome back. It has been a while. Well, I'm glad to see that you're open enough to follow your own heart, Sam, because the number one way to get out of religious trauma is to realize that God is love and what you were experiencing wasn't loving. And so to break free of the fear-based ideologies and just coming back to being loving and caring, to me, that's the fastest way to get rid of the trauma, because as the Bible says, perfect love drives out fear. So be the perfect love so the fear can be driven away. You're quite welcome too, by the way. David, the rapture is absolutely 100% not true. It was invented by John Nelson Darby in the 1830s. It was him extrapolating. After hearing a Scottish woman's dream, he went into the Bible to try to create something, and he is the inventor of the rapture. It's not biblical. It's not in the Bible. It was his interpretation of certain key phrases, and he created the rapture. The Catholic faith doesn't believe there's a rapture. Most of the Christian denominations don't believe in the rapture. It's really the evangelicals, and a couple of the other sects that lean into the rapture. There is no rapture. It was an ideology created by John Nelson Darby that had nothing to do with the scriptures. I hope that answers that for you. Maria, the next live will be in 1 month. Right? It's the second Friday of every month from this point on. Lucy, I'm glad you like my brother's music. I think you can find him online. Let me just give me 1 second, see if I can find. He has a YouTube channel where he's just playing around with stuff, but I think he has links to all his other music there. So let me just jump on and see if I can find him. Oh, you know what? Go into any one of my videos on the channel, or especially the live streams. Go underneath in the description, and I'm 100% sure I put a link down there to his stuff. So yeah, it's down there. I love it, and he does all kinds of music. And if you really want to see him really jam out, go on YouTube and search Hot Sauce Band Rehoboth Beach. And there's going to be one drummer in that band who strums, but there's going to be one guitar player in the band who strums, but there's going to be one guitar player in the band who is just incredible, and that's my little brother. Very proud of him. Yeah, and Sam, I love your. It's like they all point in the same thing, but people argue if the door was not big enough to Jack to be saved. I love that, but I look at it from the concept of it's like each religion is like a train on a track, and the track will only allow you to see what's out the window of their track, but there's lots of tracks, and you're looking out the window at different ideas. But it's until you get above it all and look down and realize all of those tracks are on the same world, and they're all going to the same place on the other side. So it really comes down to understanding that God is too big and too beautiful to be encompassed by any one school of thought or religion. And when you do the studies and with the focus on love, they all say the same thing anyway. But when you started focusing on the fear-based stuff, they all say something different. So the fear-based stuff is from the mind of man. The love is from God, in my opinion. Thank you, Chitra. I believe in that. I believe in that idea that the person who's being verbally assaulted or offended, or that they are one with me, and it does affect because we are one, and that in the same notion. That young man who I believe was being a racist and being just, looking down on this woman, I felt for him too, because he was trapped in his own fears and anxieties and stresses and his negativity. So, and I truly felt that he needed to have someone say something to him so he could look at what he was doing, because what he was doing was not in any way, shape, or form loving. Oh, there you go. There you go. Thank you, Chitra, putting up my brother's band. He is an amazing musician. That when you hear my coffee commercial, which Chitra thinks it's time for a new one, but here, let me play it for you. So understand, before I play the coffee commercial for you, I called my brother and I said, Jim, I need 15 seconds of funk music, and he wrote an entire funk song, performed it, recorded it, and sent it to me. And it's what you hear behind my coffee commercial. And here's the coffee commercial. Oh, I can't. Oh, maybe I can't show it to you right now. Let me find it for you. I'm going to find it for you. Where are you?
And now, a quick word from our sponsor. Coffee Time with John. This channel runs off coffee, so get your coffee and tea at johnsjoe.com.
So that music in the background was literally my brother, who I said, I need 15 seconds of music. And then he ended up sending me an entire funk song that he wrote. So, and then the Bummed Away at the beginning, to me, that's just, he was just thoroughly enjoying playing around, and he wanted an island feel. And so he just was playing around, and he came out with that song. And I just loved it. And I used to have a cafe song, the cafe song, and and when I switched to Bummed Away, I got so much more positive feedback on my brother's song. So this is going to be a very controversial answer I'm about to give. My friend, who I call Ishti Mariam, because, he would call Ishti, I would call Mariam, Mary Magdalene. This concept of her being a special mystical teacher is a modern New Age ideology. It has nothing to do with anything historical. My memory of her was that she was a devoted, loving wife and partner who truly understood his teachings, but his teachings were not mystical. They were simple. And this concept that people are putting her up onto this pedestal as this special mystical teacher, even the disciples of the time didn't believe that. Because if you read the Gnostic Gospel of Mary Magdalene, right at the end of the thing, she's telling this vision she had. And right at the end of it, Peter and the disciples say, why should we believe you? You're a woman. And it was Levi who stood up for her and said, he loved her more than us, so why wouldn't he share something with her? But it wasn't that she was a special mystical teacher. She was a woman. Now, once again, somebody mentioned the Taliban earlier. My memory of that time period is very much like the time in Afghanistan now. Women were subjugated. Women were treated as lesser people, and they were not allowed to do a lot of things. They were subjugated to their men, and so this concept of her being some special mystical teacher, this comes out of the modern New Age movement and a modern feminist movement, but it doesn't jive with history nor my memories. And I know that's a very controversial thing for me to say in this time period, but she was a beautiful, wonderful, loving person, and she understood the simplicity of being one with everything, but it wasn't some sort of mystical ideology she was teaching. She was just being a great wife, and my last memory of her, she was devastated and was a shell of who she was in life, because her husband had died. But then I had a memory of seeing him after that. So I don't know whether the stories in India are true that he collected her and came back to India. But look, I don't even have memory that he was in India, but I tend to believe it because of the teachings are much more Eastern than Western. So I hope that doesn't offend anybody, but that's my memory and my belief about Mary Magdalene. I loved her. She was a wonderful person. I think the coffee commercial is beautiful, by the way. I love the commercial. I'll probably rotate another one in, but I'm going to keep these going because I have to ask my brother to write another song for me. Oh, go to make another espresso. Good going, buddy. If I had an espresso right now, I'd be awake all night, so there ain't no way that's happening with me. When someone says the rapture is going to be in this September, I always remind people that the end of the world has been predicted over 2,000 times since Jeshua was here. And every time they had one thing in common. They were all wrong. We're still here. We're still going. This concept of... The other thing is when you look at what's being used as modern prophecy, the people who wrote them didn't believe they were of this time. They believed of their lifetime. And so this concept that these horrible, horrific things are going to happen are just fear-based ideologies that are being spread. But nothing is said in the future. The future is substance waiting for our belief. And Jeshua understood that. It is your faith that heals you. You don't have some prophesied, damnation or eternal illness that's coming. There is no fate or destiny or pre-planned anything. It's you creating. But the creations that are coming in will be what you believe. And if you choose the beliefs of fearful people and fearful ideologies and religions, you will have a fearful life. Larry, I love you, and I love this question. I tend to think, and I've said this on other things, that, like a cargo ship at sea, when you turn the wheel, it takes a long time for the bow to come around. But if you realize that we turned the wheel on a more loving world a long time ago, and then you just look at our children today, they're not racist, they're not homophobic, they're not gender biased. My son and all of his classmates have none of those experiences. They are much more open, more caring, more loving. They are the future. They are the ones, old guys like me, we're going to be gone, and they're going to be running the world, and they are more loving and more caring than any of us. I remember when I was young, it was the Wild West. I mean, it sounds like I'm an older guy, but I was in bar fights. I was watching the horrific things that were going on. Rehoboth Beach, a lot of gay bars, and a lot of nights, rednecks would go down and beat up guys in the parking lots because they were anti-gay, they're homophobic. That doesn't happen in that town now. It's just a beautiful place where people get along. I go down, my brother plays in gay bars. I go watch him in the gay bars and have a great time talking to everybody. They know I'm not gay because I don't present that way. But they don't have any issue with me, and I have no issue with them. So, because we're equal, we're one. That's just understanding that love in any form is never wrong. And the world that's happening right now is we've already turned the wheel on the cargo ship, and our children are the bow coming around, and all of the vitriol and hate and anger that's going on right now are the result of, as Socrates said, when the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. They're just slandering. They're being loud. They're doing their best to stop this loving, compassionate world from happening, but they're failing because all the old people who are doing that right now, they're going to be gone, and the young people are going to be in, and it's going to be a very different world. And that's my take on that one. Let me go on down a little further. Hello there, IPR 1212. I don't know what it is about 1212, but I have been seeing 1212 for several months now. Been popping up for some reason. So Audrey, people ask me about the resurrection and stuff, and I look at it much like you hear like the Hindu gurus talking about projecting their consciousness and manifesting their body around it. They come to a raging river. Rather than trying to ford through the river, they sit, project their consciousness to the other side, and they get up and they walk. I have heard many stories of gurus doing that. I heard a modern story from my friend Johnny Fox, who I mentioned earlier, the sword swallower, where he was in India and his friend wanted his guitar, and Johnny's guru walked up to him an hour later and handed him his guitar. And the guy was like, "How'd you get that?" Yeah, well, what was so shocking was they were in India and the guitar had been in San Francisco. So I truly believe you can project your consciousness and manifest your body. Have I done that? No. But I have projected my consciousness. I have astral traveled and came back with evidence that I did it. So I think that the first part of this is to understand that you're not your body, and that you get out of your body and you go and you can project your consciousness anywhere. I traveled from Annapolis, Maryland to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, which is a 2 to 3 hour drive. And I traveled that in less than a minute. And I have memory of flying over the Chesapeake Bay at night without a plane, which was very, very amazing. And so, yeah, Sam, I agree with you. Look, we should be very proud of the kids today. I'm not sure what your real name is. She's loving music. John met Jeshua coming from somewhere. I don't know where he was coming from. But in India, they believe in Sri Isa, who was a teacher in India between those years. And they could tell you where he was and what he did. And at the end of it, you say, where did he go? They tell you he went back to his country and was crucified. And so it comes to the understanding that, to them, he was there. They also believe that he came back with his wife, raised children, and died there later on. Do I know that either one of those is true? I don't have any memory of it. But it makes sense to me personally. And I really do hope the second part of that's true, because I'd love for them to have a happy ending, because they were my friends and they loved each other, and being together and having children would have been a lovely, lovely way for that story to go. Would you be kind enough to explain what you mean by the old people will be gone? Are you referring to the elders? I think you're making far too much of this and you're trying to read something into it. People, as they age, die. I will be old and I will pass away, and my children, or our children, will be going on. So it has nothing to do with anything esoteric or elders or any of that stuff. It means people die. And I'm gonna die someday, as everyone else is. And I'm so happy to see that the children are carrying it on as a beautiful. I'm referring to all of us. Older people pass away. I think everything is possible. I have witnessed children stand up from wheelchairs. I've witnessed instant healings of infected jaws. I've witnessed financial miracles. I've witnessed partners showing up at the right time. I've witnessed, our world is a reflection of our belief. And Jeshua said, take heart. I've overcome the world. You don't say take heart to somebody unless you're telling them they can do it. And so do I believe in the present moment we have the ability to overcome, but it's a matter of what can we believe and how much can we believe it. And if you can start creating things smaller, your faith grows until you suddenly realize that there's no size in the infinite. And suddenly you can manifest anything. I created world travel. I declared world travel, and 2 hours later, I was invited to do USO tours, right? It's the same thing with your body. I healed my body when the doctor told me my lungs were filled with spots from aluminum dust. I had completely clear lungs in 3 months. When my back broke, it took 1.5 years, but I ended up becoming a stuntman. So it really comes down to understanding that we have complete control of the experience of being like Jeshua and like Buddha and Krishna and all the ones who, and Muhammad, you know. And listen to Chitra, she is wise. You know, there are plenty of evidence, right? But, you know, all evidence comes with chosen belief, right? Empirical evidence is something physical we can hold or put our hands on. That I'd like to see, some real empirical evidence of it, but they don't have that in Christianity either. So, you are quite welcome. She's loved music. Yeah, yes, they do, but you're adding a complexity to something I was saying that was not in that statement. I was talking about the younger generation being the product of the new loving world. So you're kind of conflating this death thing with, and kind of muddying the message I was saying. Yeah, this is a very new age kind of idea of vibration. I just think when we are fearless, we have all the abilities in the world, but we have to overcome our fears first. As Buddha said, secret to enlightenment is the eradication of fear. Yes. Good evening, Google Whiz. As I said earlier, it was Rome was my favorite place of all of them, but you know, Egypt was magnificent. Greece was fantastic. Climbing up Machu Picchu in Peru was wonderful. I have found beautiful things everywhere I've gone. You know, the Blue Lagoon in Iceland was fantastic. The Eiffel Tower was beautiful. You know, my favorite experience was wandering the streets of Rome. It was just, I was also, you know, wandering the streets of Rome with someone who I was madly in love with, so that didn't hurt. You heard, yeah, I love, you said you heard music. So when I first got out of body, I heard what could have been described as an om sound, om, but it was consistent. So I think that when we detach from the physical, you know, the first thing that goes in the detachment is our senses, hearing being one. And sometimes if you hear music, that music you hear is the music of you and the things that are most important to you and things that resonate like frequency and vibration with you. But for me, when I got out of body the first time, I heard the noise, and I was very interesting. And now, when my son was in my wife during her pregnancy, I used to do the om to her belly. I used to om on her belly, and it was wonderful. And listen to Chitra, people. We are gonna. Yeah, we are going to end this pretty soon. My birthday, you know, if you're looking for astrology, I can actually share the chart if you want. But my birthday is, if you're an astrology person, May 26, 1964, 12:52 a.m., Wilmington, Delaware. That's my exact birth date and time. And the funny part was, this past May, I woke up at 12:52 a.m. I'm so glad you guys are loving the live shows. Yeah, I think it's good. You know, Audrey, this idea of beware. Someone says beware the city that'll lead you astray. I think any religion is going to tell you to beware of another one, or any teacher is going to tell you to be aware of another one. Which is why a lot of the New Age channels right now are pushing fear-based ideologies, because fear gathers followers for understand their safety. Larry, that is exactly what I'm saying. That we have already turned the wheel of towards a loving world, and the children are the proof of it. They're showing more loving compassion because we are creating a better world. And when the older folks are gone, and I'm using the older folks thing again, the people who turn the wheel are gone, the ship is going to be full sail towards a bright sunrise or sunset or bright horizon. And so to me, that's kind of that was the point of my comment. It had nothing to do with death. It had everything to do with a burgeoning new beautiful world. The painting. I don't know if I have the camera on or not. Let me see if I can get to it. Hold on. I think I'm on the Jeshua painting right now. Oh, I'm not on any painting right now. Let's see. Now, if you ever saw that in person, let me see if I can zoom out. If you ever saw that in person, the smiles on their faces are just are awesome. This is how I remember them. I remember her leaning into him and just being in laughter and joy and just having a beautiful expression all the time. They just loved each other so much. And when I painted this picture, if you went into my studio right now, you would see 5 or 6 versions of this that were started. What was most important to me about this painting was getting her face right. I wanted her face to be seen because we see his face all the time. I wanted the world to see her because she was a wonderful, beautiful friend. Yeah, this hour has flown by. I got 3 minutes left, and this is a beautiful way to end the live stream. Thank you, my pit bull of love, Chitra, for keeping me on task. I hope you guys have all had a great time. It's so beautiful. Thank you all for being just the lovely, lovely people that you are, and thank you for coming and sharing the time with us here, because I think, if we can just come and just have a place where we can exhale and talk about things without judgment and fear, and just have a moment of just being in this life, loving each other, then I think that in the end, we're creating, we're turning that wheel even more. And that's my thought on this. Hello, Siddharth. Lucy, you were born at 12:52 p.m., so 12 hours off. Well, my friends, I'm going to wind this down. I love you all, and thank you for coming and being here with me tonight. I will see you the second Friday of September for the next live stream. For you guys who are members, first Friday of the month will be our Zoom call. And if you guys don't know about the membership, you get to see the videos that I put out early, and you get a monthly Zoom call, so we get to talk face to face. So if you are interested in that, you can, underneath any video, see a little button that says join. You can join. It's $5 a month. And then every so often I'll put out a little message just to members or something like that. But like this morning, I put out 5 new videos that the members all have access to now, but they're going to come out one a day. So the members get your early access to that. So if you're interested in that, that is another way to help keep this channel going and keep the love and compassion going. And I'm going to set that down right now. So anyway, thank you guys for being here tonight, and I will see you in a month. Love y'all. See ya.